Look, you might not have a dad or maybe an older brother, but you got your boy. And when I tell you, you hold all the power to try to stay out of poverty or try to avoid going broke, it all boils down to the decisions you are making. According to the 2008 study, which is interesting because that was right after the Great Recession where almost everybody was broke, there are 3 basic rules or decisions in life you must complete to avoid poverty and a 74% chance of entering the middle class and staying in the middle class. The crazy part is that these three things are easy. To me, they're as easy as sleeping, basically. 1, graduate high school. 2, get a full-time job. 3, don't knock up a girl or get married before the age of 21. So let's go through all 3 of those. 1, graduate high school. Look, I went through all public schools my entire life. That was cakework. I mean, shoot, I wouldn't even show up for classes sometimes. And all you gotta do is really just show up and you pass high school. Like, high school is like, it's kindergarten work. It's child's play. So that one's easy, self-explanatory. You gotta pass high school. 2, get a full-time job. Bro, I have been pushing this hard for you guys. Right now, there is a surplus of jobs, and instead of getting full-time jobs, people are quitting jobs, right? Not seeing, right, the massive turn or shift in the economy that's coming, thinking that money will last forever. Getting a full-time job now is the easiest thing you can possibly do, and in some cases, some dudes are getting 2 full-time jobs, which I've recommended as well too. You get 2 full-time remote jobs, you could probably juggle those, save the income of the second one so you can invest it in real estate or in the stock market or wherever, or in your business, or maybe to pay for your schooling. Whatever it is that you want to do, you can do that with your second income and live off your primary income. There is so many possibilities for a full-time job now that it's really no excuse. But this rolls us to number 3 and the most important one. Do not knock up a girl under the age of 21 or outside of marriage. And this right here is where the red pill community fails and why it's so dangerous, right? Because they're preaching to all these young guys, and you especially, you're probably watching this stuff, telling you to bet as many women as possible, to get as many notches on your pole, try to get 100 girls, triple. That brings no value whatsoever, and it's just as bad as pornography. It's just as empty as beating your meat every day, except it's more dangerous. Forget the STIs, it's the possibilities of pregnancies, unwanted kids. The crazy part is that in our demographic, I'm talking the Latino community and the Black community, I think the Latino, it's 50% of kids in the Latino community are born outside of a dual parent household, and 70% for the Black community. So to preach that to our own communities is so futile. It's dangerous because it keeps the same dangerous cycle going on and on and on, where these kids are being raised by just a mother and single home. Not only is this going to lead you to a financial ruin and cut your chances of actually becoming successful, it's also ruining the potential success of that child, because by every single metric, a child that is raised outside of a home that doesn't have a father and a mother loses compared to a child that has both parents. So, 1, control your meat. 2, get a full-time job. 3, graduate high school. By the way, that's why I said these 3 are as easy as breathing, right? These 3 should be simple to do. In other words, this is the bare minimum, and just doing that alone. And by the way, this study, this is the interesting part. The part of the study was that it was conducted across all race groups and classes and everything. So it means whether you're white, black, brown, doesn't matter. This applies to everyone. You do these 3 things, you have a 74% chance of staying within the middle class. Only 2% of people that did all these 3 things actually were in the poverty class. That means 98% were chilling. This is the bare minimum. I don't preach to you guys the bare minimum. I don't believe in the bare minimum. I think as men, we should always excel. So if the bare minimum is just graduate high school, get a full-time job, don't get a girl pregnant at 21, your maximum should be, all right, can I get higher education? All right, let's say I don't. All right, can I read more books? Can I listen to more podcasts? Can I learn stuff on my own, even if it's for free, but have the dedication and the discipline to do so? Okay. 2, a full-time job, that's child's play, right? I was doing a full-time job, going to college, 5 classes, and scaling my business. That's child's play. In other words, at this age, at our age, in your early teens, in your 20s, bro, this is when you work. This is when you got that energy, you got that fire. So getting a full-time job is the bare minimum, right? Maybe I'll get the second job to get that extra source of income. I'll start building up my businesses, figuring out how to create wealth, understanding how money works. This is all stuff you can do by yourself, self-taught, adding to that number one category. Imagine on top of doing the bare minimum, you do the stuff that your older brother's telling you to do. Bro, I should run a study myself. I guarantee you that those percentages are gonna just start spiking out the roof, which leads me to believe you should not be poor, right? You cannot allow that, right? You have complete control. It's in your hands. And I'm talking obviously if you live in Western culture, in this side of the world. Obviously in poor countries like the one that I come from, there's so many roadblocks that would stop you for some of these stuff, right? Including the lack of knowledge. But in the Western world, bro, it's all about our choices.